All right, ladies and gentlemen, on this July 8th, really the first full week of the second half of the year, which is kind of an important, you got 6 months left ahead of you. Today we are very fortunate to have, from our St. Rose office, we have Francesca Gilbert. Francesca, welcome to the show. Hit star 6, and then we can hear you, please.
Good morning, Rick, and everyone out there in podcast land.
Good. It's interesting. We have welcome to the show, and we still have a decent amount of people that show up live, but most of them listen to it after when it goes on the podcast app and all that. But I've been doing this for so long that I used to do it as a group call. I don't know if you remember, but when I first started with the company, it was a group call that that morphed into the podcast. So, Francesca, welcome to the show. Tell everybody a little about yourself, how long you've been doing that, all this good stuff, please.
Okay, well, my answer is always I've been doing it since I was 12 years old, or I started when I was 12 years old, and until they stopped making my hair color, I'm going to tell that lie. So I've been doing this. It'll be 36 years in September of this year. I have been with a version of our current company for that entire time. I started when we were Better Homes and Gardens, and moved to, when we switched to Prudential, and, stayed with it as we switched to Berkshire Hathaway franchise. And and it'll be 36 years.
Wow. Yeah, I know. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
I've been doing it 39 myself, and it's funny because I've been doing it since I was 12 too, Francesca.
Exactly. The only thing is you don't have to worry about your hair color. So I feel like you have a slight advantage.
Right. I just have to have a slight tan, otherwise it looks, it's like kind of like extra lighting. You know what I mean?
I feel you. So. Yeah.
I know, but how about, especially here in Las Vegas, not only have you seen the company change and morph and grow into, Berkshire Hathaway, which obviously best name in real estate, but you've also seen, Las Vegas itself has changed a truckload since you've been doing this, hasn't it?
Oh, yes. When we moved here in 1978, my dad rented us a house off of Tropicana and roughly Mountain Vista area, and then proceeded to buy a vacant lot near Warm Springs and Bermuda. At the time, my mom refused to move into anything that might be near this vacant lot because she was sure we were going to get killed because it was in the middle of the desert, literally the middle of the desert. Now Warm Springs and Bermuda is, just touching the edges of the airport rental district and is,
right.
A thriving hub. So, but oh yeah. We used to drive out Sahara and Decatur, and it was the edge of the world. So, so Las Vegas has changed tremendously, as have all cities. But I think one of the advantages of being here is that it's such a forward-thinking city, and we get to watch a lot of the mistakes that other, cities and municipalities have made. So the growth is coupled with the enthusiasm for, what our city can be.
So true. And I always tell Tina, because I'm from the Northeast, from Boston, and we talk about, one ways, and you really can't even, you could use a GPS in Boston, but it's always better if you know the area. But, and you're absolutely right, because when I moved here, I'm always watching them, the 215, the 15, they're always one step ahead of growth, even in the road. So you're right. It's such a pro-growth area. We do have a decent amount of room to move. And we're just taking in all these people from California and all over the country that want to get a better cost of living, better, I was going to say weather, but not technically this week. But it's just such a great, I agree. When I moved here 14 years ago, I thought, I'll be here a couple of years. I was with Mike Ferry and at the headquarters, and I fell in love with it, and I've been here for 14 years. So it's a great place to live. It's a great place to to raise a family. And real estate has been quite good here, hasn't it?
It has been quite good. And I think compared to a lot of other states, it's been really quite consistent in terms of growth and, appreciation, and in terms of neighborhood expansions. We've had our ups and downs, of course, because, as those of us who have been around remember in, the 2000 and 4, 5, 6 boom, and then the 2007 through 12, not so much of a boom. We've had our ups and downs, but real estate has been a tremendous vehicle for people to increase their asset wealth, to grow their families. It's a place where you can move to Las Vegas and have an amazing home for sometimes half the price of other cities or states. And I don't know that, I challenge anybody to look at the Las Vegas market as a whole and go, wow, it's terrible, or, it's not a good market, or I can never make it in that market, because I don't think that's true. I think it's a function of what you want to focus on, right? So if you look at the Las Vegas market and you look at the opportunities that are available, you can work as much as you want to work. I think that's the great thing about it is, it's just like our business, right? Being an independent contractor, a real estate agent, you can work as much as you want to work. No one's going to tell you. I mean, certainly the managers and management team are going to encourage you to work, especially when they see the market is thriving, but you can work as much as you want to work. And I think in Las Vegas, you can be as successful as you want to be, because the market really allows for that. Yes,
I agree 100%. And it's such a unique market too. Like, I'm moving here in the 70s. That your father, that took a lot of guts to come here, because it was it was unknown what was going to happen. Oh, it's just gambling. But same with my wife Tina. Her parents, they've been here since she was like 5, 6 years old. But watching it, like even when I moved here 14 years ago, I used to call it the fake city, because I lived downtown in a high rise for my first kid. Because I'm from New Hampshire, I'm like, wow, living on the 18th floor was something. But I used to call it the fake city. But even in 14 years, we're like a real city now. We don't just have casinos. We have other stuff. We have other industries. We have, we also have sports now, right? And what you just mentioned about the crash in 2007 and 8, that's because a lot of those homes were rentals or second or third homes. There's a lot of people living here now. So this is a booming economy, and that's why a lot of people are finding it very attractive to move here, aren't they?
I agree. And I think that what we're seeing, Rick, is we're seeing the emergence of what's going to be a long-lasting place to live, not a place to visit, right? Las Vegas has always been a place to visit. You stay 2-3 days, you either win or lose, you see a show, you have a dinner, and then you go home, right? But I think what we're seeing now is a switch to where Las Vegas becomes, wow, what a great place to live. There's nothing I can't do in Las Vegas. And I think that's something we have to remember, because we who live here become jaded, right? People always ask, I'm sure you get this question, how often do you go to the Strip? And my answer is, not that often, right? Because I live here. But we forget that there are Michelin star restaurants here in Las Vegas. There are shows that rival shows anywhere, right? There is skiing, there's hiking, there is jet skiing, there are lakes, there are walking trails, there is a tremendous amount of golf. There are great schools. We're getting an abundance of not just private schools, but an increase in the public school stability and focus, right? We're getting, they're improving roads. We're getting world-class shopping on top of the world-class shopping we have. We have, a cultural center. We have the Smith Center. We have multiple arenas that are drawing, not just, a concert, but we're talking world-class, as you said, world-class sports. We're on the verge of getting a basketball team, like these are all aspects that people traditionally attribute to a real city, right? When you look at San Diego, for example, it has all of this stuff that we have, and we're heading that direction in a way that I don't think anybody could have anticipated in 1978. I mean, heck, when I moved here, we were still thinking about, are we sure there's no mafia people having dinner somewhere that we go, right? Because it was still that kind of community where, you went out for dinner and you were like at Piero's restaurant, and you might see somebody that potentially, could be problematic, right? I won't name any names, and because I'm smart, but but the movies weren't they weren't based on fake stuff. They were based on real stuff that was happening. So so now it's much more not just corporate, but it's just much more focused on offering amenities and features that real cities offer, and I think that's amazing. And I think as realtors, we need to capitalize that, and we need to remember that just because we live here and we see this stuff every day, when people come here to tour Las Vegas, they don't always know. They only know the Las Vegas they see on TV, and they don't always know what our city has to offer, which, is why I think it's so important to do I love to give people the dime store tour. When I take out a buyer, the first, little bit of the conversation is a little bit about Las Vegas. And as we tour, I point out all sorts of stuff. And at the end, I've had people say things like, you should work at Disneyland because you're really good at the tour, right?
You should be the ambassador of Las Vegas.
Well, I love it. It's a great city. It's a great city. And it's a great place. It's a great place to make money. Yeah,
it really is. When I moved here, the market was in the tank. So I got a super deal through my old employer at Panorama. And, I met Pete Rose. I used to ride the elevator with Pete Rose, Gail Sayers, Joey Fatone, Michael Phelps. I met there. So it's a very interesting place. And they used to have, they have limos there, and you can use them in that. With the driver, and the stories they have about the mob coming in, and everybody that's a local here loves them. And we can't go without mentioning one of my favorite places to visit. I've been there like 3-4 times, and they keep upgrading it. Is the Mob Museum. And if you haven't been there, you got to go there. It's really cool.
What do you mean? Have I been there? It's my people. I go there and I'm like, oh look, it's Uncle Charlie. No, I'm just kidding.
That's funny. It's my peeps. That's hilarious.
For sure.
Yeah. Sure. All right. Well, so, I'm the same way. I think Vegas is awesome. It's a great place to live. It has such a great story. And like you said, you call it jaded. I call it spoiled. I mean, if I want to see a band, I'll go. I know you live up here in Henderson. I live in Summerlin. I mean, they're two dynamite places to live, but we have access to the Strip and entertainment. And I don't know about you, but the Cirque shows, everything. And I've seen bands that I never would have seen unless I lived here. But then we have this wonderful thing called the job of real estate. And you obviously are very successful. You're always in the top group of people when we do the awards every year, Francesca. So give them some tidbits. Like if I'm a business person, and because that's what we are, like you said, we're independent contractor, we're solo entrepreneurs. Give them your top 3 things to be successful in this business. What would you say they are?
So if I had to pick 3, and I think there are many, but I think the first one I would start with is when you meet a client, and I love that word, right? A client or someone that you're going to work with. Like if you've never heard me refer to my clients, I call them my people. And I mean that. I mean that they're my people. They're not clients. They're not somebody that I got commission from. They're my people. They're people I remember. They're people I think about. I've had people pass away. I've had to sell houses for, people who, their dad passed away and they had to take care of it. I've got people who had kids at literally the 2 days after we closed on a house. And they're just my people. They are people that if they called me and said, Francesca, my kid got hurt and I don't have someone to watch my other kid, I'd be like, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Like, give me 5 minutes. Let me, put on some shoes and I'm on my way. And I've had that same response on the other side where, something happened and quote clients have called and said, oh my gosh, I heard this happened. We're sending you groceries from Whole Foods. Yeah, we're just having them shipped over to you. We just want you to be okay. Call us if you need anything, because they're not clients. They're people. They're people that have become dear to me. And I think that if we had that thought that they're your people, you would be not just so much more successful in terms of business, but it's such a happier way to be a realtor, I think, right? Where you talk to people, you meet them. And I have some people right now. We are going to have a phone call as soon as you and I finish the podcast, because we've got sort of a transactional glitch, okay, just a teeny little glitch that we're going to solve. We're going to solve it this morning. And I said to them, I said, when you come into town today, after we sign, if you guys don't have plans, I'm going to take you to dinner because I don't want you to end the day on a sour note that, you know, it was a struggle and everything had, you know, was last minute and everything else. And they said, oh, we don't think we've ever had anybody offer that before. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm a dinner person. So like, but it's part of being people, right? That we're all people, things
right.
are tough. And it's our job to not just, you know, transact, but to make people feel amazing. So I think, you know, that would be my number one recommendation, is to treat everybody as someone who could be your person, your tribe, your people, right?
Right.
I think number two, and I did a class a couple of weeks ago, and I had a couple people that I think I may have scared a little because of my energy level. But I really think it's important. I always tell people to be a Tigger, not an Eeyore. I think I love Eeyore. I do. He's great because he's so real, right? But I think
right.
we have to be a Tigger as much as we can be a Tigger. We have to be just a little bit wild, a little bit bouncy, a little bit like you've had too much caffeine, a little bit, you know, happy, glad that you're alive, you know, glad that you have the opportunity to help someone today.
Right.
And I really think to me, that's key. Now, and you know, Rick, none of us can be a Tigger every single minute of every single day,
right.
because stuff happens and we have our own issues, and maybe you don't get enough sleep, or, you know, or maybe something didn't go 100% the way you wanted to. But if you walk in with the mindset that you're going to try to be a Tigger as much as possible, you're going to try to be happy, people love that. People love enthusiasm. They want to work with someone who's enthusiastic, who's happy, who's appreciative. You know, they don't want to work with someone who's so depressed and sad, I don't think, right? So I think that's my number two advice. And then I think my third piece of advice that I would give someone is to learn everything you can learn. Mm-hmm. I am I'm a college kid. I'm first kid in my family to ever go to college. When my parents are, I'm not even first generation. My children are first generation Americans, right? So we moved here. I went to college. I went to high school. I loved school. I would have stayed in school forever and ever and ever. When I got out of college and went into real estate, the first thing I did is took all my classes to get my CRS and Certified Residential Specialist designation. And people were like, "You're crazy. You haven't even sold a house." I'm like, "Yeah, but I just came out of college. This is my mindset, that you go to class, that you learn things, right?" And I learned so much. And quick example, I took a 1031 exchange class, had no idea what that was. You know, mind you, I was 23 when I started. I barely paid any taxes, right? And about, I don't know, maybe a year after I got that class, or after I took that class, and I still didn't even have my designation, by the way. I had just taken the classes. I get a call from somebody who somehow got my name, from my parents' restaurant. So I got my name from my parents' restaurant, an Italian guy, and he said, "I'm a realtor in Los Angeles. I have these people that want to do a 1031 exchange." And I was like, "Oh, a 1031 exchange? I just learned all about this." And I said to him, I said, "I'm new, but I took this class and blah, blah, blah." He said, "I met your dad at the restaurant. He said, you'd be great. My clients are going to love you." He referred these people to me. They bought 5 houses in 1991. And then over the years that they were my people, their families bought 14 houses from me over the years. I did 14 transactions for those folks, right? But it started with learning. Had I not gone to the 1031 class, I wouldn't have known what a 1031 was. So
that's awesome.
I think it's good to learn as much as you can learn. Listen to podcasts, go to meetings. When an agent does a class or a little workshop or whatever you want to call it, listen in. You know, sit and hear what they have to say, and you may pick up one teeny weeny little tidbit. And if you pick up one tidbit that helps you, you know, that has been worthwhile, right? Because everybody has a different way of approaching tasks or, you know, presentations or just, you know, situations, objections, whatever you want to call it, right? But everybody has a different outlook. And it's great to hear that, because we as people think that everybody's like us, right? Everybody's like Francesca. Right. They make decisions really fast. They don't worry about what happens. Okay, but that's not the reality. The reality is very few people are like me, right? So I have to learn to work with people that aren't like me, you know. So to do that, I listen to how other people handle different situations, because then I go, oh, that makes sense, because that person, you know, needed a lot of paperwork. So now I could, you know, whatever it is, right? So you can learn how to handle different aspects of the real estate business by listening to other people. So I think to me, you know, treat everybody like they're going to be part of your tribe or people. I call them my people, you know, and then, you know, be a Tigger as much as you can be a Tigger, and then learn everything you can learn. I mean, learn everything you can learn.
No, I think that's awesome.
That's my three
I actually have,
advice.
just so you know, we had Halloween here at corporate last year, and guess what I was? I bought a full-length Tigger costume. I have it in my closet still. The only problem is it's very warm. No, but I love Tigger was my favorite when the kids were growing up too. Yeah. Eeyore.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but there was also a cartoon when we were younger, and the character's name was Glum. Do you remember Glum on Gulliver's Travels? Remember that show, Gulliver's Travels?
That's old. Come on, even I'm not
that
old.
He was the original Eeyore.
I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah.
Glum to Eeyore.
From the actual book, Gulliver's Travels, yes, by Jonathan Swift. That there actually is a character named Glum, and he was the doomsday guy. It was depressing, right?
Well,
but here's the thing, Rick.
Gulliver.
Yeah, doomsday people are everywhere. They're everywhere. Yes. It's not hard
easy to
finding someone who's going to try really, really hard to make sure you're as sad as they are. Those people are everywhere, right? So that's why when you come into a room, and I think you have the same, you know, theory, right? Like, I've never seen you walk into a meeting and be like, oh my God, this is what's happening today. I mean, that's just not your personality, right? So people want happiness. They get sadness at home. They want to come in and go, wow, you know what? I had so much fun today. I just had a client say to me, he just closed a week ago. He said, I've bought 12 houses. I've never had as much fun buying a house as I had with you. And I'm like, to me, that's a huge compliment, because not only did he find a great house in a great neighborhood at a great price, and he's super happy about the purchase, but, you know, he said it was just like a fun experience where you were just, you were almost more enthusiastic than I was about what was happening, right? And I want people to walk away and say, wow, that was, you know, that was such an enjoyable experience. And even if they have challenges, because we're going to have challenges, right? But
of course.
But the key is to help people navigate the challenges and make sure that you know, they don't feel like everything is ruined because of them. You know, stuff happens. We just have to deal with it. And that's our job. As realtors, it's our job to make sure that, you know, we help people navigate those challenges, and how we approach them is how they're going to receive the information, right? So if you call someone and you are upset and angry and you know, being horrible about what's happening, they're going to respond in kind. And if you call them and say, hey, here's what's going on, here's what we're going to do to take care of it, here's what's happened in the past and how I've handled it, and, you know, and I've got a game plan for you, and I think everything's going to be just fine, you know, let's just work through this. People respond accordingly. They go, oh, Francesca thinks it's going to be okay. All right, it's probably going to be fine then. Let's not worry about it, honey. And that's the response people give. But if I call and I'm like, oh my God, this is so horrible, we're never going to be able to figure this out, I don't think the brain trust in the world could figure this out. Well, guess what? They're going to be like, oh my God, honey, we're never going to get this house because, you know, we can't figure it out. And so we just have to want to, you know, we want to deliver life with happiness. That's just what we want to do. That's what we do. So I don't know. That's my thought.
No, I love it. No, I love it. And with this new atmosphere of everybody is technically going to be your client. I know you've always treated them that way, but these new changes coming up in August or September, you know, so everybody is going to be your client from here forward. I think to be positive is critical, but I think you need a plan in today's world because, like you said, you can turn on anything, CNN, MSNBC. You can get your fill of negativity in a heartbeat, even social media. And then constant learning is so critical. Audiobooks and books, and I just Mark Starkliff, his book selection here. I just used one of those to go to when I went to New England and back and read the whole book, and it was an extremely good book. I can't remember the name of it now, but I'm with you on all of that, Francesca. Completely important. Got to stay positive. Got to stay upbeat, and even on the days you don't feel like it, right?
Agreed. And Rick, I think you brought up an incredibly good point, and I'm glad you did. I think the changes that are happening, and by the way, just as of Friday, there were some different. The DOJ is interceding in some other stuff, so who knows what's really going to happen? Nobody knows.
Right.
But what our job is as realtors is when we meet somebody to explain the best of what we currently know, right? Because it could change tomorrow. So this is what we currently know, and really to say, here's how I'm going to help you get to where you want to be. Because the rules are different. Who's paying whom may be different. We're going to have some challenges of figuring out which button on the MLS does what, or how to search something. I think there's going to be people who are going to be challenged to figure out how to use their cell phones to actually call another agent or to pick up a call, right? Because that's something not everybody's used to doing. So we're going to have some bumps for sure. We're going to have some bumps, right? But again, our job is not to mire our clients down in those bumps. Our job is to go, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to find you a house because this is ridiculous. And, I can't figure out if I'm going to get paid, and I don't know how much you're going to pay. Like, if we go in with that attitude, oh my gosh, like, who's going to use us, right? Our job is to say, all right, here's what's happening. Here's what I know. Here's what I do to help you get to where you want to be. If that sounds like what you want, then I'm the person you should hire. If after meeting me today, you in your mind don't think I can possibly help you, I'm not the right fit. I'm just not.
Right. Exactly right.
And that is okay, Rick. It's okay not to be the right fit for every single person. It just is.
Agreed.
Right? So I think it's important for us to have a great attitude, to learn as much as we can about what's happening in that situation. Same three rules, right? And when we talk to somebody, if they're a great fit, let's make them one of our people.
Definitely. Awesome. Yeah. Well, perfect timing and a great place to end too. Francesca, I just want to say, awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. Francesca Gilbert, thank you very much for taking your time out today, Francesca. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy. I know you're productive. So keep it rocking. I really appreciate it. You have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye. We'll talk soon. Thank you, Francesca.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye now.